Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Unboxed. So glad that you joined us today. All right, let's jump right into it. I want to ask leaders, all my leaders who are out there, how well do you know your family? And I'm talking about your biological family. As I'm going to share as we move further along, it is so important that leaders have a full understanding of their biological family. And over the next couple of days, as we're talking about the leader and their family, I'm going to share with you information about how you can better understand your family, better understand yourself, better understand your leadership. Let's continue unboxing how to be better leaders by understanding our families. I'm Dr. Robert Davis, family life educator and relationship coach, and welcome to Unboxed, a frank and straightforward conversation about relationships. We're going to talk about family, church, workplace, and all other types of relationships. Join me for the next few moments as we unbox the power and potential of relationships and help you to live your best life. All right. Welcome to Unboxed. Now, the reason that I have been sharing with you without my video on is simply because I'm at my parents' home in Huntsville, Alabama. And so I am not in a position to be able to broadcast. My mom would get me if I was to broadcast in her home. So I'm just letting you hear the audio. And that's also to do you a favor. You know, they tell me that I have a face that was made for radio. Anyway, so let's just jump right into this. Leaders, how well do you know your family? And I've told you before, the way that I view relationships and the way that I coach leaders is informed, and it's because I have been studying Murray Bowen's theory of family and relationship systems. I believe that relationships work within a system. And the better that we understand both what is going on in the relationship system and especially the part that we are playing, then the better we can do at managing ourselves and being effective, authentic leaders. So previously I asked a couple of questions, and that was, what is your relationship like with your parents, your siblings, your grandparents, your aunts and your uncles? You know, to really review that, because as you look at your relationships with your family of origin, your primary family, it really does inform you about how you interact in other relationship systems, whether it be workplace, church family, neighborhood, organizations, whatever it may be. It really does help you to understand how you function because of the way that you were pre-programmed. Now, the last time that we were together, I gave you 4 questions to help you to know how emotionally reactive or emotionally fused you are with your family or reactive you are towards your family. And those 4 questions were, first of all, can you be present with your family? You know, are you able to be present with your family, to be there, to be attuned, to listen, to be in touch with your family? Is that something you're able to do? If not, then there's some things we need to work on. The second question was, can you have separate one-to-one relationships with each member of your family? Are you able to have separate one-to-one relationships with each member of your family? The third question we looked at last time was, can you share without needing to persuade or to convince? You know, are you able to share your thoughts, your beliefs, your ideas without saying, hey, I need to convince or to persuade? And then the fourth one is, can you listen without becoming argumentative? Can you just listen to other people's ideas, thoughts, and opinions without becoming argumentative? And you know what? This right here, I was tried today, both at home as well in other relationships, with how well can you share without needing to persuade or to convince? And, you know, I've tried to be as transparent as possible as I'm sharing with you about my leadership growth. This is one of the areas I really struggle with. And it's a sign of emotional fusion. It's a sign of emotional reactivity when you believe that you need to try to convince or get other people to believe your way, to think your way. It is a sign that you are emotionally fused. And this is something that I struggle with, and I even noticed and observed it today. The reason that I share these things with you is because as you go from day to day, I really want you to be able to have these things in your mind and to observe what is going on when you're in various relationships. Okay, so today I'm going to share what I should have probably shared with you the first time we discussed this subject. And that's very simple. How well do you know your family? And by family, I mean, how well do you know your family tree? Just the basics. the name of your grandmother and grandfather, the year that they were born, where they were born, just the basics of your family tree. What are the names of all of their children? Do you know all of your aunts and uncles' names? Going back, and I encourage people to start when you're doing your family tree. I encourage you to start, or rather to do 3 generations. So that's your grandparents and try to get that whole line. And then that's your parents, which is your aunts and uncles, etc. And then your line, which of course would be your cousins, etc. Just 3 lines if you start right there. Now, of course, the goal is, if you can, trace your roots all the way back to Africa. If you're African American, trace your roots all the way back to Europe. If you're European, or to Asia or whatever, get as far back into your roots as you can possibly go if you can. But at least start off with 3 generations, because those 3 generations are really going to be the ones that have the greatest impact and influence on your life. One person said, by their fruits, we know a person. By their roots, we understand them. Let me say that again. By their fruits, we know a person. By their roots, we understand them. So again, I ask you, how well do you know your family genealogy? Murray Bowen would refer to this as family research. That's right. Murray Bowen would refer to this as family research. He would subscribe, and I believe it so much, that every person, in order to really become emotionally mature and to become an authentic leader, needs to do research on their own family to get a deeper, fuller understanding of that primary system that help to pre-program their emotional computer, to really understand what is the me that makes me me, and where does that come from? And of course, it comes from our family. And so I find it amazing. I really do. I find it amazing that leaders do great research on their organizations. They know the strengths and the areas of growth regarding their other leaders, because they do great research on other leaders. They do great research on the market. They do great research, about their vision and their strategic planning, and how to hire the best people and how to staff the team. They do great research on all these things relative to their organization. But unfortunately, there are a lot of great leaders. And by great, I mean they are recognized as being effective at moving their organizations forward. There are a lot of great leaders who have not done the necessary research on their own origin. So you know everything about the organization that you're going to work for. You know what was the name of all the various CEOs and presidents. What are their plans? How they, what is their plan to expand into the Asian market? How are they, what other companies are they planning to acquire? All this research that you've done. All that stuff, and then somebody says, well, tell me, how did your grandmother and grandfather meet? Something's not right about that. A great leader should know more about themselves and their family than they know about anything else. So what I want you to do is I want you to start by drawing a diagram of your family tree. 3 generations. Your generation with your siblings and your cousins. The next generation is that of your parents with your aunts and uncles. And then above that is your grandmother and grandfather and as many of their brothers and sisters as you can possibly do. 3 generations of your family tree. Line it out, draw it out so that you can see that. And what I'm going to do tomorrow is I'm going to share with you some questions. Once you get those 3 generations drawn out, I'm going to share with you some questions. And we're going to do this for the next couple of days. I'm going to share with you some questions that you need to ask yourself as a result of that, with that information. Once you put all those names and stuff on a piece of paper, you got to lay it out. I'm going to talk about some questions, because by their fruits, we know a person, but by their roots, we understand them. Wow. Tomorrow, we're going to come back. I'm going to give you some very specific questions, research questions that you need to ask so that you can understand the most important organization you're involved in, which is the organization called your family. Again, like, subscribe, and share, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.
Seasoned with Grace, Unboxed also provides healthy relationship training and leadership development for businesses, churches, and community organizations. For a free consultation to discuss your team's needs, please contact us at our website at swg-unboxed.org. That's swg-unboxed.org.